Hey, all my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel, where we embrace our femininity, increase our womanly value, and celebrate our brothers. So join me on our feminine journey to learn, heal, and grow. Hello. How are we today? If you hear any congestion, just know that Chicago's air quality sucks. And as long as I want to breathe air, there's nothing I can do about it. We're going to talk about the teen thing. We're going to talk about why there was a majority black teen takeover in downtown Chicago over the weekend. And they wasn't just walking around. They wasn't just being innocent. They just weren't just shopping or dancing or putting on a show or doing anything positive. And it's a lot of facets to this. It's a lot of facets to it. Everybody or nobody the right people won't be held accountable. I'm holding black single mothers accountable. Yeah, excuse me. You know, black folk, we got to put some shea butter on sometimes. Skin get a little, see, I'm going to have to put my knuckles in the camera later on today. And they got to be shea butterized. Don't think I don't keep lotion and shea butter right next to me. You know, black folks got to keep lotion and shea butter right next to them. Okay. Now, thank you, Silver Fox. So I just love your content. It's my off day and the weather in Chicago is decent, but I'm in the house to watch you cook. Bless you, my sister. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate you kicking off the contributions. I'm going to read some articles, or probably just one. You know, before I start reading these articles, we are going to talk about these mothers. Because we talk ad nauseum as a community as a whole about fathers. We talk about them when they there. We talk about them when they not there. We talk about them when they're semi there. We talk about them when they're there, they're not assertive enough and they're not doing enough when they are present. When they're not present and the child goes wayward because the father wasn't present. And then we talk about, well, he should be present no matter what's going on. the father should be there. And, we got a lot to say about the responsibility to children of fathers. Do fathers have responsibility towards their children? Of course they do. Of course they do. And if the Black community were normal, that would not even be a topic of conversation, because it would be understood implicitly that fathers are there and that they bear responsibility to children as well. Thank you, Philip. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sweetheart. Thank you, Ralph Dupree. Said, hey, TT Crimson, I gave my hyena aunties your book last week. Now they don't want to talk to me anymore. Oh my God. They don't want to talk no more. Thank you so much anyway, Ralph. And you doing what you can do. We talk and we talk and we talk about what the men are or are not doing, or what they are not doing enough of. The bottom line, I'm going to tell you the reason why I don't really talk about men on my channel. It's a couple of reasons, actually. First of all, there is a whole side of YouTube with Black female content creators that don't do nothing but hold Black men accountable. Everything, as much as people will think that I only talk about Black women and I blame everything on Black women, for as much as people would think that I do that, there's a whole other side that does the exact opposite thing. And everything is what the men are or are not. What they are or are not doing, how good enough they are or not good enough they are, and all of this sort of stuff. So if that is the content that you are looking for, then there are certainly places on YouTube where it is easily found. Over here, though, we're going to talk about the role that Black women collectively play in the foolishness and the downward spiral and the destruction of the Black community, because there is a role that she plays. And because Black women are grown, because they are competent adults, because at any other time they'll tell you to kiss they soda cracker and they act back and how grown they are, well, we're going to take grown women accountability over here. The other reason that I don't speak on men, so the first reason was because if you want to have channels or look at or consume content that is almost exclusively about what Black men ought to be doing, and it is spoken of by Black women, there is a whole group on YouTube that does that. That's number one. So the market is pretty much saturated, and I don't need to join the crew. Number two, my channel is more instructive than anything. The men do not come to me to figure out how to solve their collective problems. And I'm not here to help them solve their collective problems. Now, can the men learn from what I say? Can they get anything positive that helps them from my content? Of course they can. And they're always welcome to do so. Now, if Black women had their stuff together and Black men did not, we might be having a different conversation. But as it stands, Black women not only don't have their stuff together, they delusionally don't want to get it together. Delusionally, they believe that they are already together. And if black women have any issues, then those issues lead directly back to black male pathology, not black female pathology. Because according to so many hyenas, black women do not have any problem that black men did not introduce to them. According to black female hyenas, they do not have any problems that black men did not introduce to them. And so that's supposed to be a way to dodge accountability and not take any responsibility for anything that they do. My channel is for the women, because it is us that need to get our stuff together. It is us that need healing. It is us that need a reality check. It is us that need the wool taken from over our eyes. It is us that need to be able to look around, practically around us, and see the devastation around us, and not only see that what the environment had to do with it, or what black men had to do with it, or what the white man had to do with it, but also understand what black women had to do with it as well. Because no community fails as catastrophically as it has fallen, and only one side of the group is at fault, and the other side is a saint. We're not doing that. Thank you, Keith Blocker said baby mama culture is the causer. Thank you so much, Keith. So today we are focused on how black single mothers failed the community. Not how absentee fathers and, what black men did. We talking about the actions of black women and how that has played into things like what we've seen over the weekend in Chicago. Thank you, Real Bravado Network. Say, Crimson, when are you not having a good cook? Keep the work strong. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much, sweetheart. Thank you so much, sweetheart. I greatly appreciate your support. So, since we talking about these teenagers and the daddies, where are the fathers? Where are the family units? There aren't many. I'm going to tell you, one of the first things that dismayed me was the amount of teens that could form a flash mob over social media, go out into downtown Chicago all at night. Hundreds of them. Not 50, not 40, not 30, hundreds. An entire mob. And out of all of these kids, they mama do not know where they are, or if she do know where they at, it ain't nothing she can do about it. She bet not call them and try to make them come home, because she doesn't have the disciplinary authority to do that, which is why they're out there in the first place. They out there in the first place because, one moment. My apologies. It's because there are no fathers and the mothers don't have control, which is why there was allowed to be, that there was even a possibility that there could be hundreds of teens in this city, majority of them black, without any good parental supervision, without any concern about what their parents might think or what might be the consequences if they're out at whatever time of night they're out causing chaos. But that is one of the pathologies that we talking about. Because it is the black women that decided that we needed to celebrate black single motherhood. Not needing men for nothing, not needing them for yourself, and not needing them as fathers for your children. That is what gave way to them hundreds of black teens being able to roam the streets of Chicago, beat people down, burn cars, loot, destroy property, fight, shoot. Wasn't no just having fun. Wasn't no just no, a group of little 15 teenagers and they wasn't really doing nothing. Nothing. No. They all got together. Let me clarify something. There was no event that preceded this or that provoked it. There was no specific event that provoked it. This was something that they did. They did a flash mob thing. And y'all know how flash mob work. That is over the internet. That is social media. So, friends tagged friends and Facebook, blah, 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 blah. We gonna all descend at this time. We going downtown. Whoever gonna go right, let's meet up, roll up, pull up. That is how a flash mob starts. And social media is very fast. It's hundreds. You can reach hundreds of thousands in a little Facebook, friend thread like that. So that is how you got hundreds of them in the first place. That was why they were there. So it wasn't like there was some thing that happened and then the kids were there. No, they were just there. So let me go ahead to this little article. I didn't like this little article either. You know what? I'm going to read it because this is a little bit of a tangent, but it's a tangent I kind of want to go on a little bit because don't nobody value black men's lives. I'm going to tell you that much. This is about the little mob attacking a couple walking around. A young couple caught on video being assaulted during the violent teen takeover of the Windy City over the weekend feared the vicious mob was going to delete us during the unprovoked attack. Ashley Knudsen, 20, and Devontae Garrison Johnson, 22, recounted their frightening ordeal on North Wabash Avenue on Saturday night when they were overrun by the marauding youngsters outside of Macy's. Knudsen says she and her boyfriend were shopping when they ran into a really big group of people, guys and girls. DJ had my hand trying to lead me through the crowd of people, and they pushed him. They pushed me. And as soon as they pushed me, I told DJ they just shoved me, Knudsen recalled. Now, this is him and her. Now, they just shoved me, Knudsen recalled. And he was like, don't shove her. Who shoved her? And as soon as he said that, everything went crazy. They said they were going to delete us. They turned around and started fighting. I got pushed down to the ground and the whole group went to DJ and not to me. She said she was hurt in the fracas, but that Garrison Johnson suffered the brunt of the aggression. They were jumping him in the middle of the street. It got pretty bad. In the viral video posted by CWB Chicago, Knudsen is heard pleading for help when a good Samaritan stepped in and de-escalated the encounter. I felt like at that moment I needed to take action, Lenora Dennis told Chicago. By the time he got up, he was bleeding from the mouth, head, and eyes. He couldn't make straight eye contact. It felt like he might have been concussed. She said Knudsen told Fox 32 she saw cops drive by and act like they didn't see anything. Dennis also expressed frustration about the lack of help from Chicago police. I literally went out in the street and held my hands up to a police car and asked them to stop and motioned them over to what was going on, and they just cut a path around me and kept going. Dennis said she drove the couple to the police station to make a report. I got told by desk sergeant that this was going to happen and that this was going to keep happening because Brandon Johnson got elected, she said, referring to the mayor-elect. On Monday, the progressive Democrat urged the public not to demonize the hordes of rampaging teens who set cars on fire, clashed with police, and damaged private property. Dennis said that the couple was taken to a hospital by ambulance, but without their phones, wallets, and even shoes, all of which had been stolen during the attack. I told the couple that I was going to go home to find them some shoes so that they wouldn't be barefoot the rest of the night. God bless her. She gave us shoes, took us home, took us to the hospital. Thank you so much. I don't know where we would have been without her. The Good Samaritan said, do unto others. That's a mantra that I live by every day. Just do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Garrison Johnson, who suffered injuries to his face, shoulder, and back, described the terrifying incident. It was very random because all we were doing, we had just left Nordstrom and we were looking for somewhere to eat, and we saw that group and they just thought they were tough and they wouldn't move out the way, just out there being stupid, young and dumb, trying to prove a point for nothing. Police said no one has been arrested in connection with the attack. In a statement, police said the reckless, disruptive, and violent behavior that was seen downtown this past weekend will not be tolerated. We actively and continuously review open source social media, and additional resources will be available to protect those who are visiting, living, or working in areas of large gatherings. Mayor Lori Lightfoot called the teens' behavior reckless, disrespectful, and unlawful, but added that many were there to enjoy the unseasonably warm weather. As I have said before, we as a city cannot and will not allow any of our public spaces to become a platform for criminal conduct. Most importantly, parents and guardians must know where their children are and be responsible for their actions. Instilling the important values of respect for people and property must begin at home. Now we want to talk about home training. They ain't got none. And where did that start at? Thank you, Dusty said, Book of Bad Seeds. Thine seeds grew out of infertile and venomous soil. These fruits are begotten from a barren vineyard and has not been tended to with good care, and pruning any lustful vineyard is only the product of good husbandry. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Problem that it's a tangent. It's a tangent. I know it's a tangent. Don't nobody care about black boys' lives. Other women and groups of people have learned how black men think and how they operate. The first thing that girl did was tell him, they pushed me. Now, she shouldn't have said nothing. This is how women get men deleted. And I bet you anything she learned how to do that. First of all, because she wasn't black. So they've always been able to ring the alarm for some way, either in benefit of themselves or whatever, using black men to run interference for them. Black women do the same thing. Book that young man for a fight in the middle of hundreds of people. What do you think men are? Why would he be able to fight any of them? Or why would he be in a position? Why would you want him to be in a position to be trying to find out of a group of hundreds of people in a mob? Y'all are he had to grab your hand to walk through a crowd. Everybody touching you. Everybody's touching you. You done bumped into everybody in that crowd. Thank you, Dee. Said no one pushing us, and she calls everything. When you see a stampede, you move. See, because people know how black men think. See, people know, despite the cry of the hyena about black men don't protect, they're the most protective. They're the most protective of women. Because they were trained that way by their mammy. That even as a little boy, he had to fight the world for her. Thank you again, Dusty. Said Book of Bad Seeds, 'tis the season for thine heathens. They don't need a reason to go full demon. Thank you so much. If we must go through a crowd, ain't no getting around it. We got to go through this crowd to get where we going. He grabbed my hand and said, come on, baby. And he had to take my hand. We got to pretty much be in the buddy system to get through the crowd. If somebody pushed me or something like that, I'm not going to say anything. What can he do? He doing what he can do. He's got me cuffed like this. He's already using his body as the shield. He's already doing it. All that he's requiring me to do is walk right behind him, up close. You don't know how to follow? These knuckleheaded women don't know how to follow nothing. This one a hyena too. Care nothing about her not being black. She's an albino one. I told you I bite all of them. That's a hyena right there. That's a whole hyena move. It's always lipstick on my teeth. Oh, hold on. Thank you for the heads up. As a woman, you never put your man, you never book him for a fight. Do not book him for a fight. It's hundreds of them. You're not walking by two people and one of the people pushed you for no reason and you tell you, hey, baby, he pushed me. That's different. That's different. It's hundreds of them. pushed anyway. You got pushed down to the ground, didn't you? Didn't you? And when you got pushed down to the ground, they didn't attack her. They attacked him. Now, they could have killed him. They could have killed him just by the sheer number. All it takes is one wayward blow, one wayward kick, and he's out of there. They shoved me. We know that. You just walked through a crowd of 100 people. We know they shoved you. He just got shoved in front of you. You see, he didn't start fighting. Who shoved me? He didn't do that. Why? Why didn't he defend himself against the shove? Because it's hundreds of people. He know if he start fighting, he not going to win that. He not even going to be close to win that. He'd be lucky if he lived through that. But black single mothers have trained black men to die for women, no matter what. So that kicked in. Soon as she said, "Oh, they shot me, DJ." Soon as he heard that, he sprung into action. He wouldn't do it for himself. He knew better. Logic prevailed. When she said, "They shot me, DJ," when he heard that, turned him, he hit the switch. Now you, who don't shove up? Do y'all understand where I'm getting to from that? Y'all understand where I'm going with that? As a woman, you don't never do that to your man. That's a surefire way to let him know you do not care whether he live or die. You tell your man after. Baby, they was pushing everybody. They was crazy. What's going on with them? Baby, I don't know. Let's get on up out of here. Okay. That's what you're supposed to do. It's a perfect example of what I was talking about when I was on that panel. And they was all in the comment section, man, women will be crazy because you want him to protect you, don't you? Get to see? That's a feminine woman, no. A feminine woman understand that. You don't set your man up. You don't set your man up like that. You do not set him up like that. You don't be the one to set him up. If he gets set up, let it be by the ops. You don't turn into the ops and set him up. Ain't no way we going through a crowd of hundreds of people and I tell my husband, baby, they shoved me. We know that. One of them felt on me. We figured that. Because as soon as I say it, he going to get upset. And he going to want to do something about it because I belong to him. So he want to protect me. He want to make sure I'm okay. He don't want nobody messing with me. That's the whole point. I know that. You live through that shove. He might not live through that fight. You'll live through that shove. He might not live through that fight. Thank you, Clock HVAC. Said just like a hyena in the NYC bodega got her man deleted. Yeah, I always be getting them deleted. Thank you again, Dusty. Said spoonfuls of crimson gumbo on the menu today. Get y'all bowls and get them likes up. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sweetheart. Thank you, and thank you again. Silver Fox said, protect your man in a situation that will activate his trigger mentality in an impossible situation. Exactly. Gotta be situationally aware. You got to be situationally aware. I'm sorry I went off on that tangent. But I couldn't resist it because we do have other parts of this that are more important than that. We going through a perilous situation. It's enough for me. It is enough for me as a lioness to know that my husband grabbed my hand, grabbed my arm, cuffed me down, and barreled our way through. That is his protection. He's using his physical body already like a battering ram. He's already doing it. He already protected me. It's enough that he's protecting by removing us out of the situation as quickly as possible. Thank you, John said he'd be in the dirt and she'll have a new one by Monday. Exactly. Oh, my last boyfriend, he died, and, and the mob jumped him, and they beat him up. But she gonna leave out. She gonna leave out. Well, I told him to beat him up because I said, they shoved me. Girl, if you don't shut up. If you don't shut up, you little hyena, you little albino hyena, shut up. Because had she been with a white boy, she wouldn't have said it. And if she did say it, he wouldn't have started fighting. He'd have said, come on. Come on. He wouldn't have started fighting. He wouldn't have asked no questions. Come on. Ashley, come on. Thank you, Professor Carl said he had an ex use your name to try to spark a beef between Obsidian and me on his show. Needless to say, she's an ex for trying to make me a kamikaze. Wow, that's crazy. But thank you so much, Professor. So women, y'all better start figuring that out. Men, if your woman think that's your protection and she won't come off of that, I'm going to tell you this much. Lionesses understand differently. We understand differently. Anyway. Before I get to cooking about my city, we're going to go to a commercial break about Atlanta, Georgia, the Atlanta metropolitan area. And if you or anyone you know are in that area, then you might want to hear a word from our sponsors. So after these messages, we'll be right back.
First, Gamer vs. Gamer does not consider itself a game truck. To clarify, a game truck is one that pulls up to your home, opens its doors, and tells the kids to go play video games. The entire focus of a game truck is on playing video games. That's not what we do at Gamer vs. Gamer. Our entire focus is actually on celebrating your child's birthday. Only 65% of what we do is video game related. The other 35% of our time is spent on a choreographed recognition of your child's special day.
Happy birthday. Wish we were there. Sorry we missed it, but we'll see you soon. Love you.
Which includes singing, eating, special videos, and the opening of gifts. We chose to use video games as a tool to entertain children at the party, not as a substitute for a birthday party. We only advertise as a game truck because that's what the general public associates us as.
Gamer versus gamer.
Gamer versus gamer.
We look forward to treating your child like the most important kid in the world on their birthday.
Hi, Gamer versus Gamer. Thank you so much for my birthday party.
I like to bring just a little bit of levity to the show because we're going to really get into the meat of other things as well. I'm done with my tangent. But that was a word from our sponsor, Gamer versus Gamer. Go to their link that's pinned at the top of the chat, gamerversusgamer.com, because they are a wonderful service that is based in Atlanta that is able to give you and your child a phenomenal, unforgettable experience for their birthday. They show up with a 30-foot trailer and everything you could possibly want or need to make your child's special day even more special and a lasting memory for them, even into their adulthood. It really demonstrates how much you care about them and how much they mean to you. At the same time, as the parent planning the birthday party, Gamer versus Gamer takes the guesswork and they take all of the footwork out of planning an elaborate party. So you get to get all of the accolades for the party, and Gamer versus Gamer does the rest. So they show up with a 30-foot trailer, they show up with games, they show up with food, they show up with a time and a place for the child's family to talk to them and connect with them and let them know how much they love them and cherish them as well. And they even clean it up. And they take the whole shebang out of your way and leave you only with contentment, you and your child happy, and a memory made. So if you are in the Atlanta metropolitan area, you or anyone that you know got children with birthdays coming up in the next couple of months, please don't hesitate to click the link at the top of the chat, gamerversusgamer.com. Check out their website, check out their packages, give them a call, and have them to help you write your child a love letter. All right, and I owe y'all a bam, 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 bam. You gotta hit the like button, bam, bam. You gotta because we got 482 awesome people who have hit the like button. Let's see if we can get the next 500 or so to hit the like button as well, so we can get back to this cook. Thank you so much, NYG. Said, love your content, continue to do great work. Thank you so much. Thank you so very much. Thank you, Dusty. Said mouth sauce was spewed across the pavement. Among the fray was Juvenile's footwork in the top. How you gonna say footworking? Are you from Chicago? Because that's definitely Chicago, footworking. Juvenile's footwork in the top cars, and children promptly departed from the green and red arteries that dropped them into the heart of the city. Yeah, you from the Chi. Thank you so much. Thank you, Habitual Line Steppers, and much love, Crimson Love. Your last two lives, especially the one about reparations. 1.1K away from 100K subs. Let's go. Let's go. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Marvin. Thank you so very much. And thank you so much, Philip. Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you so much. Now we're going to get back into this cook because I'm on a black single mother's neck because there is no home training. Mayor Lori Lightfoot talking about home training. Since when the last time the black community had enough values to have home training? Last generation to even know what home training was Generation X. We was the last ones that knew what home training was. We was the last ones to know that. We was the last ones. We was the last generation that heard about, man, okay, the street lights is on. I need to go home. Man, I can't be out here like this, man. My moms, my pops, nah, I can't be running the street like that. Only the real bad kids could run the street like that. Why? Because there wasn't nobody at the house raising them. It wasn't nobody there. Moms was either strung out or not there. Grandma, she was too old to do something about them. You know, she would, but grandma like 70 something now. She done raised her kids already. The mama and the daddy, they out of there. That's why they have to be raised by grandma, but grandma too old to really do anything. They ain't scared of grandma. Grandma can't come out and get them. Grandma can't whoop them no more. All grandma can do is fuss now. And they ain't listening to that. That was the real bad kids of Generation X. And that was a demarcation line. If you wasn't one of them kids, you couldn't do what them kids did. Because them was the kids running in the juvie. Them was the kids that grew up to be the stick-up kids. Them was the kids that grew up to be the drug dealers. Like, that's what them kids was. We might have been in the hood, but we wasn't all bad. You see, we was just poor. We was the last ones to have any semblance of a two-parent household, whether it was functional or not. I grew up in a two-parent household. It was dysfunctional. But I always knew who my daddy was. He lived with us. And I bet not have been out in the street. I wasn't allowed to be no street girl. My brother wasn't no street boy. We'd go to school, you know, as dysfunctional as the family was, my mama was picking up report cards. You understand that? Looking at progress reports. Hearing what the teacher had to say. It was that kind of stuff. You know, man, you don't want to get these failing grades. Man, my mama going to be up here. Man, mama going to come. We was the last generation that was like, man, I don't want my mama to come up to the school. I don't want my mama gonna come up to the school, man. We'll go only so far. And then once we start, we know where the line at. Like, nah, I can't do that. Nah, see, you talking about, you talking about getting me dealt with at the house. No, we can't do that. Thank you again, sweetheart. Said Dusty said, I'm not from Chicago. I'm from a city that has Chicago problems. More like Chicago's West Coast cousin with palm trees. But nonetheless, Chicago is a second home. Thank you so much. Because that was spoken like a Chicagoan. I had to ask because you mentioned footwork and mild sauce and the red and green line. Generation X was the last generation of home training because we was the last generation that we still had our daddies in the house. And that was because our parents were boomers. Our parents were boomers. So a lot of them still was like, nah, you know, me and your daddy crazy, but that's still your daddy. Who you talk to? You know, you're talking. We was the last generation that still heard stuff like, wait till your daddy get here. Wait till your daddy come home. No, I'm just going to wait till your daddy come home. I'm going to tell your daddy. That's okay. I'm going to just tell your daddy. We was the last generation that was like, come on. Don't tell my daddy. Please don't tell daddy. We knew what it was. The next generation, the generation that Gen X raised, the millennials, little bit of home training. If they were older millennials, the older millennials got a little bit of home training. That was the residuals from how the Gen Xers grew up. We just grew up with that kind of stuff ingrained in us. Little bit for the older millennials. After that, trash. Wasn't no home training. Wasn't no daddy in the house. You can't use where your daddy at. Wait till your daddy get home. And why can't you use that? Because you heifers don't want the daddy to be home. See, that's new. That's brand new. We gonna stop acting like black men not being in their families is some old school thing that always been going on. That's new. And that's new because y'all new. Y'all brand new. See, our mamas wasn't really on that. Not in the majority. The majority of black women wasn't on that. Even the majority of Gen X's wasn't quite on that page. Not quite. Not quite. We was getting there, but not quite. Y'all, the millennials that had kids, y'all was the ones talking about, I don't need him in here. See, y'all was the ones started having, getting pregnant for child support checks. Y'all was doing that. Getting pregnant for child support checks. Having 4, 5 baby daddies and all that kind of stuff. Don't want none of them around. See, that's new. That's over the last 2 generations. Running child support scams. That's at an all-time high. Then don't want the man to say nothing. And he don't feel that he have the authority to say nothing or overrule you. Whether he live there or not. Because I tell you one thing. There were times when my daddy was not necessarily living with us, dysfunction. But I bet you this much when he came over there, he still had authority over it. Don't ask me how it worked. I was a kid in the situation. But I know this much. Whenever he did dock that door, my mama be like, you can't do that. He would just look at her. You don't tell me what I can do. These still my kids in here. These still my kids in here. My mama knew better. When they did finally break up and separate for the final time, she knew better than to have me in it. My mama did not bring me in home. She didn't have I never seen another man over us. Never. She never lived with another one or none of that. Whoever she was dealing with, he wasn't around us. The only man I knew with that kind of authority was my actual daddy. So that's newfangled. We gonna stop acting like it's been hundreds of years and black men just ain't never took care of their kids. I'm not going with that narrative. We're not doing that. And whether he was functional or not, he was in there. And I don't want to hear no ifs, ands, or buts about that, because black women feel like just as long as she there, whether she functional or not, I'm your mama. You think that give you a pass for everything? Tell me I'm lying. Tell me I'm lying. Thank you, Monopoly. Said now that I'm old, I never appreciated whippings and punishment so much. Taught me to have discipline and some class about myself. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, 39 Dina. Don't you hate when your eyelashes? See, I wouldn't be having this problem had I put mascara on, but okay. I can't trademark Skibbity Pap because I actually got that from Tony Baker. So he needs to trademark Skibbity Pap because I got that from him. I ain't even gonna try to be, make it fly for you. I did not think up Skibbity Pap. I just think Tony Baker is hilarious. There's another point to this. In the article, it mentioned that the police sergeant told that woman when she was helping that young couple that this was going to keep happening because Brandon Johnson had been elected. Thank you again, Johnson. Will you please put Skibbity Pap on a t-shirt? I cannot in good conscience steal that man saying. Y'all do need to listen. Y'all want some good content because he do voiceovers mostly for cats, and his voiceovers is hilarious. The police mentioned something. Now, people might be saying to themselves, well, if that couple needed help and they was flagging down the police, why didn't the police help? Now, you gotta understand that the police are now between a rock and a hard place. And I don't side very often with the police, and I certainly don't have a whole lot of empathy for them as a group, as an organization, as an entity, as an institution. I don't have any empathy, right? But the police can't do nothing about that. The police is not going to be able to do nothing about them crowds. And I'm going to tell you why. It's not that they don't have riot gear or can be prepared for a riot. Chicago has had riots before. But you know what but you know what the problem would have been? Had one teen came up. Now, no matter how much they done beat on somebody, had one teenager been able to say that a police yoked them up and whooped them upside the head or whatever, one out of the hundreds, if one had been able to come forward and say one of them police officers skibbity papped them up, yoked them up, now we will be talking about race issues and issues between the police and the community, not single motherhood giving rise to the possibility of having hundreds of black teens roaming around messing up stuff and wreaking havoc. Thank you, Lightel said, my mother got married a virgin at 16, spirit-filled Christian, never wore pants, still married, 5 kids, all successful business owners with degrees. Thank you so much. The police is not able to because listen, the way the Chicago police force I grew up with, the Chicago police force that I grew up with, the one that was in the 80s and the 90s, that Chicago police force, the one with Daley as the mayor, that Chicago police? Yeah. We not having this conversation. Because they'd have just cracked heads and wouldn't have cared nothing about who had something to say. Go back to your neighborhood. They real quick to tell you, the Chicago police been so racist so long. That would not have gone on more than an hour or so. When they wanted to riot in the 90s, when the Bulls was winning all them championships, they sent them back to their neighborhood. Black folk messed up Madison Street. Madison Street is on the west side where black folks is at, in the Garfield neighborhood. They tried going downtown, messing up downtown, and the police was like, not so fast. Because we'll spray y'all. And I ain't talking about pepper spray. We'll spray y'all. Go back to your neighborhood with that. Now, I'm not advocating that they spray a group of teenagers now. I'm just saying that the police are making a very conscious decision at this point to simply not intervene. Or intervene very minimally. Just enough. Just enough. Because they can't go upside nobody's head. Can't do that. You certainly can't shoot nobody. You certainly can't get your baton out. You can't do any of that. And this is what, but we should not be putting our children in the way of that, of even being in a situation where that is something that a police would have to think about having to do or not do. Because we should not have failed them in the first place in such a catastrophic way. If black women had valued men beyond $1 and beyond a sexual tryst, then we would not have hundreds of teenagers roaming the street because they ain't got nothing to do. The home that you provide for them is chaotic. It is dysfunctional. It is not a place of peace. It is a place where they are many times tormented psychologically and or physically. Them boys is tired of being son husbands, and them girls is tired of being daughter wives too. To y'all, not to the men, to their mama, daughter husbands. Got to raise all the rest of your kids. Thank you, Black Thoughts. If millennials are senseless, that signals the failures of Gen X, one could surmise. Obviously, the blacks don't see this will have consequences. That's what I was saying, though. Gen X grew up with a lot of issues. We had a little bit of values that was instilled in us from the baby boomers, but we had a lot of trauma that was also instilled in us by the baby boomers. Crack era ruined, it decimated Gen X because we were children and we were young. And many of us had to raise ourselves after that and try to remember the what we deemed was good that our parents taught us. Try to do a little bit passing it on, but it's downhill from there. I told you the crack era was a bioculture around and switched the values up. We had a value system got switched up again at that moment, during that era. So we raised our kids messed up. We raised our kids messed up. But we definitely, them girls tired of being daughter husbands to their mama. Got to bear all her emotional brunt and all that kind of stuff. Just generational trauma walking around in the bodies of teenagers. And that generational curse and trauma is from that single motherhood is a very large component of that. And the reason why I keep pointing it out is because black women love to try to defend it instead of saying, you know what? That's true. We need to turn that around. It's not fun, nor is it funny, nor is it helpful, nor is it healthy to promote single motherhood. See, that's the difference. That's why I don't accept that argument of the men leaving. Single motherhood is not simply the byproduct of absent men. Single motherhood is the product of the advocacy of such by black women. Black women advocate single motherhood. They champion it. That's different than a circumstance that you just find yourself in. And then championing that situation. It's two totally different things. So it's not just about, well, the men left. No, you don't want them around to begin with. Left what? You act like you created a family for him to leave. Thank you, Marriage, Politics, and Sports. Thank you so much, sweetheart. So we don't want the teens gunned down or anything like that. We don't want the police to just, we don't want them to just run roughshod over them. But it's that lost value system, black single motherhood, we don't need no men around, that even produce the situation that now we have to have a conversation about how much force should police exert in the controlling of a large mob like that that's marauding around. So I just wanted to talk about that for a moment. I'm laying it at the feet of this celebration of single motherhood. We're going to keep seeing stuff like this. And by the way, this is the same crowd. It's also the chaos of black women running politics for the black community too. I was going to get off of here. Thank you, Michael. Said Black Lives Matter. Anyone? Yeah. Letting black women handle the politics and the mobility of the community. It's the same people talking about defund the police. Same people talking about how you don't need the police and this and that. Also the same people that want the police to help with the crowd. Thank you, Lightail says it's gonna get worse. Yeah. I am trying to get out of Chicago, like as soon as I can. You can't want to defund the police and at the same time want them to have the means to control or disperse a crowd of teenagers of that magnitude. Thank you, just my 4 cents. A young teen father cannot compete with Section 8 welfare, et cetera, et cetera. No, they can't. And thank you. Our issues with the police as a community, as a group, are well noted. But that does not eclipse, it really don't have nothing to do with Black mothers' responsibility towards their children to create, as best as they possibly can, 2-parent households where the children are taken care of and raised properly. See, if we concentrated on the family structure, see, this is also the same demographic of people that work towards the deconstruction of the Black family. It's such a deep rabbit hole. It might need to be its own show. Matter of fact, because I'll forget. That was a long note. Sorry about that. Thank you again, John said, I'll bet that guy that got stomped wouldn't have a problem with the police beating the cake mix of that mob to get them off of him. Exactly. I just wanted to. Oh, thank you, Dr. G, said for the moving fund. Oh, for me getting out of Chicago. Thank you. That will go towards it. Thank you so much. Excuse me. Thank you, Bertram said Crimson. I remember as a kid when we would crack jokes, if you told the kids you ain't got no daddy, a fight would start. Now the kids don't have a father figure around to even know he is missing. I forgot about that part. Yeah, you not having a daddy was a point of shame. Like if we knew your daddy wasn't around, like we would roast you for it. 'Cause our daddies was there. Wow. You right. You are so right, Bertram. Wow. I had forgot about that till you said it. Yeah. You ain't got no daddy. That was a whole fight. That was a whole yes, I do. Whole fight. We about to be in the playground boxing. What you talking about? Saying your mama and saying you ain't got no daddy. Let's fight. Thank you, Black Thoughts. I hope you do not go to another city run by Dems. I hope so too. But thank you so much. Yeah, you couldn't tell no little hood kid they ain't had no daddy. We finna fight. We finna fight. You might as well stand up and we gonna put our shoulders together like this and we gonna push because we finna fight. Mm-hmm. Yep. We gonna fight. Mm-hmm. Anyway, wanted to bring that to everybody's attention. Thank you, G Money. Said no one speaks about the trauma of the Gulf War cause. Usually a parent with the majority of values is in the desert at a critical time in their children's lives. Yeah. I love y'all. And I appreciate y'all. I really do. Y'all do make it worth it. Sometimes I get discouraged. Sometimes I get very discouraged. I have been discouraged a little bit over the past couple of weeks, with all that stuff that was going on. And some of the things that I saw really discouraged me a lot. And it made me second guess. And a lot of them days during them last couple of weeks, I didn't want to do any shows because I didn't think that they would make any difference. But I really do love y'all because each and every time that I come here, you guys show me how much you care. You not only come through with the super chats. Thank you so much, France Civil. So how are these kids' parents not embarrassed? They just want to blame the white man that run Victim Olympics. This is true. Not only do you come through with the super chats, I appreciate the engagement. This is fuel for me. The fact that there's more than 1,000 people in here right now, almost 1,100 people in here. And you come here and you come to hear what I have to say. And it's humbling. It's not something that I put myself on a pedestal for. It's actually something that keeps me humble. Because I understand that almost 100,000 people are listening to what I say and they're taking it to heart actually. So that makes me humble and it makes me careful about what I say and how I present both myself, how I present my words, how I present my topics, why I do it the way that I do it, and all of those sorts of things. Y'all just coming here, leaving the comments, clicking the likes, all of those things are so valuable to me, and I appreciate them so much. So thank you. Thank you, Phineas. Thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you, Phineas, for the love offering. Thank you so much. We are going to see what we got. Who hit the cash out? Did we have some cash apps? No, we didn't have any new cash apps today. But thank you so much. Thank everyone so much. Thank you, Miss Pearls. Assalamu alaikum, sweetheart. Said confidence and love contribution. I wish I could do more. And what you've done is fine. May Allah reward it. Thank you so much, sweetheart. Thank you, everybody. I am going to go ahead and wrap this up. And I will catch you guys on the next one. Bye-bye, Crimsonites.